Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Thiessen and I'm your GelMoment independent distributor. Happy Halloween! I'm really excited today to share with you 4 easy nail art ideas for your Halloween manicure. So for our first nail art design, we're going to be doing Jack from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So we're going to start by creating the white circle for his head, and we're going to use Lovey Dovey and one of GelMoment's dotting tools. And basically we're just creating a circle by just going round and round with the dotting tool to create that circle for his head. So we're going to do a full cure on that first coat, and then we are going to do a second coat just to make sure that it's all nice and white and even, and then we're going to do another full cure on that second coat. Then we're going to start by creating his eyes. We're using a smaller dotting tool for this, and just continue to use the dotting tool to create that kind of angled look. His eyes are a little bit on the angled side, so you just want to create that opening for his eyes, and just use the dotting tool to make it bigger and bigger until you get to the size that you're looking for. So now we're just going to do a quick flash cure on that. And next I'm going to use one of the brushes from the creativity set, just with a fine tip, and he almost has these little lines on his eyes, and so we're just pulling down the polish to create those little lines that come down from the corners of his eyes. Then we're going to use a little bit more Raven's Kiss to create the nose that he has, the little lines for his nose, and then we're going to do another flash cure before we start with his smile. So basically we're just taking Raven's Kiss and we're just creating his smile line, and then we're going to do another flash cure before we go ahead and do those little stitches to create the stitching for his smile. When you do the stitching on his smile, just make sure you have a very small amount of polish on the end of your brush. You want to have these stitches kind of all over the place. They aren't really in any kind of specific order. They're kind of crooked a little bit, and then once you're done with the stitching, you do a full cure, and then you seal everything off using a coat of Clearly Frisky, and then you've got Jack from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Our next nail art design is a really cute little pumpkin. I've done 2 coats of In the Mood on the nail stick, and now I'm using Candlelight Flame for the lighter color of the pumpkin. So I'm just using the brush from the creativity set to create that outline, and then I'm doing a flash cure on it just so it's just cured enough so it's not going to move. Then I'm going to fill in the rest of the pumpkin with the color that I'm using for the base, and then just make sure that I'm filling in along that outline that I had started, and that way we have our nice solid color for our pumpkin. Once you finish filling in the entire pumpkin with the color that you've chosen, do a full cure before you start applying the accent details. So now we're using a darker orange. So this is Mandarin Summer, and I'm using this darker orange to create the definition of the pumpkin. So these lines are basically coming out from the center of like where the top is, where you would have the stem of the pumpkin. And you're just pulling them down and creating the definition so that you can see the outline and the design of the pumpkin. Once you have your lines all filled in, we're going to do a full cure again before we move on to the next step, which is just creating more definition with those lines by doing a second coat over top. Once you've done the second coat, you can do either a full cure or a flash cure. I did a flash cure for this one. Next, we're going to be using Lovey Dovey to create kind of a little bit of shadowing on the pumpkin. So I'm just putting a little bit in the top corners of each of those outlines that show the definition and the shape of the pumpkin. And I'm just really spreading it out and pulling it down along the length of the nail stick here to just create definition and shading on the pumpkin. Once you're done the shading on the pumpkin, we're going to move on to doing the stem. And so basically it's almost like a curved triangle is the shape that we're looking for the stem here. I'm using Desert Rain, and I'm just filling it in for the first coat here just to get the shape. And I'm doing a full cure, then I'm going to go over and do a second coat. This is going to add a bit more definition, make it a little bit darker, and make it stand out a little bit more from the pumpkin and the background color. We'll do another full cure on that second coat, and then we're ready for the little vine that's going to come off of the side of the pumpkin. Now I have used Feeling Ferny for this vine color, and the trick with doing the vine and the really fine line is to have a very small amount of polish on your brush. Now we do a full cure on the stem, and then we're going to finish off by putting a coat of Clearly Frisky to seal everything in. And there's your little pumpkin. Our third Halloween nail art design is a mummy, so this is going to be a really cool look. I am using Lovey Dovey to create the look for the bandages, and I'm just starting by creating the opening for the eyes to go in. So I'm just doing a flash cure on that before I start with the bandages. So put a little bit of Lovey Dovey on your brush and just swipe it along the nail stick or on your nail. And you want to make it so that it looks like you can see through to the black a little bit. This creates the kind of look of that transparent mummy bandage by having it a little bit see-through. So the trick with the bandage look is to cure in between coats. So put a few swipes down for the bandage look, then cure. Then put a few more swipes down in a different direction, then cure again. This is going to give it that layered bandage look that you're looking for. Then you're going to want to start by adding more definition to some of those bandages that you have already done. This is going to give it that definition and the look that you're going for, where you have some bandages that are see-through and some bandages that are not. Try not to add too many lines for the bandages. You want to have some space where you can see through to the black so that it gives that illusion of the mummy dressed with the bandages. Once you finish with the bandages, you're going to use your dotting tool and take a little bit of Lovey Dovey and create the outline of the eyes. Then you're going to do a full cure before you add the pupils with Raven's Kiss. Do another full cure on the pupils for the eyes before you are ready to seal off with Clearly Frisky. Once you've finished applying Clearly Frisky to your entire design, do a full cure, and then you have your nail art mummy. Our last Halloween nail art design is some dripping blood. I am using Scandalous for the blood color and Lovey Dovey as the base. I've done 2 coats of Lovey Dovey on the nail stick for the base of this design. You want to start by creating the upper portion of the dripping blood, basically where the blood is dripping from. You want to create these arches almost where the blood is dripping down. That's really what's going to give you the definition and the look of the dripping blood. The fun thing with these drips is that it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to look exactly clean and have clean lines. It's going to be a little bit messy. It's dripping blood, so that's what it's meant to look like. So using the dotting tools to create the circles that the blood is dripping down into is what's going to help you get that definition and that dripping look. When you're happy with how your design looks, you can do a full cure before applying a second coat of Scandalous over top just to give it a little bit more definition and color. Do another full cure on your second coat of Scandalous with your blood drips before applying Clearly Frisky to seal in your entire design. Once you've applied Clearly Frisky, do a full cure and you're done. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Happy Halloween!